I just wish y'all to please stop killing each other, man. Like, it's just so senseless. It's so senseless. Like, we losing lives every day, our young youth. And the gun violence has gotten out of control.
I'll do the same thing to you, so why not do it to them? Why show them compassion when they ain't gonna show your folk no compassion?
Basically, saying he ain't sparing shit.
For what? They ain't gonna spare me.
You gonna put it like that.
Yeah, wait. When if their son end up dead and they come to court, they ain't gonna spare me in the courtroom.
Hey, I know
they gonna want my ass shot.
Nah.
You hear me?
Welcome into Now at 11. We do begin with that breaking news out of Birmingham. Police just announcing the man charged in the deadly 5 Points mass shooting is now connected to other killings across the city, including the death of Birmingham firefighter Jordan Melton.
There is a city in Alabama where the summer heat is the least dangerous thing in the air. Birmingham, a city with deep roots, deep faith, and deep wounds. A place where people go to work, raise families, fall in love, celebrate birthdays, and mourn the dead. But what happened between the summer of 2023 and the final months of 2024 didn't just add to that pain. It broke something that a community had been holding together with bare hands for years. 18 people dead, more than 30 others wounded, a pregnant woman, an unborn baby who never got to breathe his first breath, firefighters shot on the job, a UPS driver killed on a delivery route, mothers, young men and women barely into their 20s, people at a birthday party, people outside a nightclub on a Saturday night, all of them gone or permanently marked in a 14-month stretch that turned Birmingham into a city afraid of its own streets. And at the center of it all, one name, Damien McDaniel III, 23 years old, and according to prosecutors, the most prolific accused killer in the entire history of the state of Alabama. This is not a story about a monster from a horror film. This is a story about a real young man, real victims with real names, and a real city that is still, right now, waiting for justice. Not a single trial has concluded. The courtrooms are still filling up. The families are still sitting in those wooden chairs, waiting. The question that haunts Birmingham more than anything else isn't just who did this. It's how. How did it go on for so long? You are watching True Crime Tragedies. We tell the stories that got buried, the ones that deserved far more than a local news segment. If that matters to you, subscribe right now and stay with us, because this one is just getting started. Damien McDaniel was born in 2002. Growing up in Birmingham's unrelenting poverty pockets, in a city where young men learn very early that the streets have their own rules. He was 20 years old when his name first appeared in a courtroom. In April of 2023, McDaniel pleaded guilty to 2 counts of attempted murder from a prior shooting. The judge handed him a 15-year sentence. In practice, the bulk of that sentence was suspended. He walked out of that courtroom on probation. Free, back on the streets of Birmingham before the ink on the paperwork was even dry. Less than 3 months later, the killing allegedly began. People who knew McDaniel from the outside would not have painted you a picture of a killer. He later described himself as a man of God. His family stood by him. That is what makes cases like this so difficult for a city to process. The warning signs were there, and the system looked away anyway. That suspended sentence was a warning sign. That probation was a warning sign. And 3 months after he walked free, Birmingham started paying the price. The first victims most people connected to McDaniel were not civilians. They were firefighters. Jordan Melton was 29 years old, working his shift at Birmingham Fire Station 9. A man who had chosen a career built entirely around running toward danger so that other people could run away from it. On July 12, 2023, he and his colleague Jamal Jones were shot while on duty.
First developing news in the case of a Birmingham firefighter who died after being shot on the job. The main suspect in the 5 Point South mass shooting, now facing charges in the death of Jordan Melton. Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Guy Rawlins.
And I'm Brittany Decker. We have team coverage for you tonight. Magda Lusant is standing by at the fire station where Melton was shot.
But first, let's check in with WVTM 13's Lisa Crane, live and local outside the police department. Officers announced multiple new charges for McDaniel today. Lisa.
That's right. The man police believe is responsible for 2 mass shootings and multiple deaths, now accused in several other cases. At a press conference today, authorities announced Damien McDaniel is charged with the murders of Mia Nixon, who was gunned down in front of her home, Anthony Love Jr., he was shot and killed at a UPS facility where he worked, and Jordan Melton, one of 2 Birmingham firefighters who was shot at Fire Station 9 in Norwood in the summer of 2023. That murder has gone unsolved for 19 months.
While some of these investigations may require more time, rest assured that we are tirelessly working every day towards bringing perpetrators to justice with efficiency and meticulous work carried out by our homicide detectives.
Now, since the tragic shooting there at Fire Station 9, the department has adjusted its safety plans to make sure firefighters feel safe at work. WVTM 13's Magda Lusant is live right now outside the fire station in Norwood to tell us all about those changes. Magdala?
So Lisa, Chief Moon tells me when he took his position in 2020, they added cameras to all of the fire stations. But when Sergeant Jones and Jordan Melton were shot here at Fire Station 9, they knew there was more work to be done. On January 12th, Birmingham police say that Damien McDaniel walked into Fire Station 9 that morning and shot at firefighters Jordan Melton and Sergeant Jamal Jones multiple times. That day, authorities say the fire station was open to the public should anyone need help. Well, shortly after that shooting, Chief Moon said they closed the fire station down for a few months to allow employees to seek counseling. In between that time, he says they worked on expanding their safety plan and giving some first responders the option to come back to their post at Fire Station 9. He said most of them came back, but there are others who did not.
We've added additional security cameras. We added door access control. We updated our station security policy. So we wanted to make sure that we were doing everything that we could. And we're still working to add some additional security measures with BPD and the help of the mayor's office. So it's constantly evolving. We're constantly trying to do more.
There was a third person in the fire station that day. That hero has not been named at all during this time, but he was on site to get more help for Sergeant Jamal Jones and Melton. Moon tells me Jones is doing well, but still has some recovery to go through. Moon gave Jones an update on McDaniel today, and he said that he was happy to hear that charges have been filed. So the fire department aren't the only ones in our community who are connected to this recent news with Damien McDaniel, and there are other family members across Birmingham who are dealing with this and still processing this. But Chief Moon does have a message to those family members, and you'll hear that at 6. We're live in Birmingham. I'm Magda Lusant, WVTM 13.
Magdala, thank you. And as we've mentioned, McDaniel now charged in 14 murders, a string of shootings taking place over a year. Police say it started on July 12, 2023, when Jordan Melton and Jamal Jones were gunned down as they worked at that fire station in Norwood. On January 10, 2024, McDaniel is now charged with killing Mia Nixon, I should say. The 21-year-old was shot and killed in front of her home in Crestwood. And in April, he's accused of targeting Anthony Love Jr., a UPS driver shot and killed as he walked to his car after work. On July 13, 2024, the first of 2 mass shootings McDaniel is accused of at an event center in North Birmingham. 4 people died there, 10 others were hurt. He's also charged with killing DeAntronette Brown inside a club on 9th Street North. That was September 19th. And then just 2 days later, McDaniel is accused of opening fire in the 5 Points neighborhood as people stood in line outside a lounge. In that incident, 4 people died, 17 others were hurt. Now, in a statement, McDaniel's lawyer says they are ready to move forward with their defense in all of these cases, saying, quote, "We were aware there was further investigations going on that were separate from the pending cases, so we are not too surprised by the additional charges. The defense team will not be deterred from providing our client with the vigorous defense that our system of justice demands." Now, I spoke with the mother of the firefighter McDaniel is accused of killing Rochelle Gaston Malone. She told me just before he died that her son, Jordan Melton, told her he felt called by God to help mentor young people who might be headed down the wrong path, and she is continuing his wish to do that. She has launched an annual event in her son's honor aimed at combating gun violence. The second annual Jordan E. Melton Safety Summit is going to take place this Friday at the A.G. Gaston Boys and Girls Club. Brittany?
Lisa, thanks so much. And as always, we are continuing to follow this case very closely for you. You can find all of the latest details in this case and all of them against Damien McDaniel on our website and also on our free WVTM 13 app. Once authorities do give us an update, we will bring it to you on air and online.
Not caught in crossfire. They were at work, in their station. Jones survived, though his recovery stretched across months. Melton fought for 5 days. Then he was gone. A 29-year-old firefighter killed on the job in a city he served. And the man prosecutors say pulled that trigger had been on probation for attempted murder for less than 90 days. Let that sit with you for a moment. After Melton's death, the alleged killings didn't pause. They accelerated. Reginald Bryant was killed in a robbery in the Pratt City area. And then Mia Nixon, 21 years old, was shot down in her own driveway, a place that is supposed to be the last few feet between the danger of the world and the safety of home. Mia never made it inside. Then came Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2024. Angelia Webster and Chris Norris were a young couple, both around 20 years old, sitting together in their vehicle. Angelia was pregnant. They had already given their unborn son a name, Seven, and on Valentine's Day, all three of them were shot dead inside that car. 3 capital murder counts, 1 trigger pull, 1 couple, 1 baby boy named Seven, who never got the chance to be born into the world that was already waiting for him. April brought another death, Anthony Love Jr., a UPS employee. According to prosecutors, his killing wasn't random. It was a murder for hire. Someone paid to have Anthony Love Jr. removed from this earth, and Anthony had no idea. He was just delivering packages. By this point, Birmingham was bleeding, but the worst was still coming.
An update live at 5 on the new charges facing this man, Damien McDaniel, who's now connected to 14 murders across Birmingham. The new charges against him for the murders of Birmingham firefighter Jordan Melton, Mia Nixon, and UPS driver Anthony Love Jr.
Along with Melton's death, McDaniel is also accused of injuring firefighter Jamal Jones. Now, we're now hearing from the Birmingham fire chief about how these charges are bringing them closer to justice.
Your reporter Bria Chapman live at 5 with new reaction from the fire chief today about what this will mean for all of his firefighters. Bria.
Yeah, that's right, Jonathan and Sarah. So July 12th, 2023, that's the day Fire Chief Corey Moon tells me him, along with other first responders with the Birmingham Fire Department, will never forget. But he says now knowing the person police say is responsible will have their day in court. Now, although it will not bring Jordan Melton back, it does give them a little peace.
Wow, I get to finally talk to his parents and give them some good news. Even though I didn't do it, I still feel that guilt. Y'all trusted me with your children, and this is what happened. So to be able to finally tell them they got the guy that did it, that was a real powerful moment for me.
Chief Corey Moon describing what it was like to call Jamal Jones and the family of Jordan Melton after Tuesday's announcement. It's a call he's been wanting to make for almost 2 years now.
This case has been going on 594 days, so there's not been a second out of my day that I haven't thought about this case and Jordan and Jamal and what they've gone through. So it's more than just work for me. It's personal. People always talk about how the fire service is a family, and for us here in Birmingham, that's an absolute fact. We're a family. So when something happens to one of us, we all feel it, and this is the thing that keeps me up every night.
Jordan Melton had only been with the fire department for a few months when he and Jamal Jones were shot as they prepared to start their shifts. Sadly, Melton passed away from his injuries 5 days later, and the wounds Jones sustained changed his life forever.
Jamal has absolutely had a significant change in his life. He hasn't been back to work yet, but he's working hard every single day, going through therapy to see what the next steps are for him. So Jamal is a strong young man, so he's obviously still healing and going through all the mental and physical scars that he's had to deal with, but he's battling every single day.
July 13th, 2024, North Birmingham. Outside a venue called Trendsetters Lounge, someone was celebrating a birthday. Adults gathered the way adults do. Music, laughter, the joy of a night out with people you love. And then a car rolled by and the shooting started. 4 people were killed.
Good morning, everyone. I am Sergeant Laquita Wade, Public Information Officer with the Birmingham Police Department's Public Information Division, and we would like to thank you all for joining us this morning as Interim Chief Michael Pickett makes a major announcement. First, you will hear from Chief Pickett, and then you will also hear from Mayor Randall Woodfin. When Mayor Woodfin is done, we will have just a few questions and answers. Please limit your questions to the topics that we will discuss this morning. Thank you. Chief Pickett.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Michael Pickett. I serve as the Interim Chief of Police for the Birmingham Police Department. When I was appointed to this role, one of my top priorities was to get our homicide detectives equipped with every tool that they needed to be able to investigate all murders, especially egregious murders like the ones we're going to discuss today. Wanted those to be able to be solved so that the victims' families, can have that one step closer toward closure. That being said, the Birmingham Police Department has obtained warrants in a major homicide case that has caused the victims' families tremendous pain and suffering and sorrow to the city of Birmingham. On Wednesday, July 12th, 2023, an unknown suspect entered the open bay of Fire Station 9 in Norwood. He was armed with a weapon. He shot 2 Birmingham firefighters, firefighter Jordan Melton and Sergeant Jamal Jones. They were both critically injured during this horrific crime. Both firefighters were transported to UAB for treatment, where they received life-saving measures. Tragically, 5 days later, Jordan Melton succumbed to his injuries. 22-year-old Damien McDaniel of Fairfield, Alabama, has been charged with capital murder of a first responder and attempted murder of a second firefighter. It has been 19 months since the tragic incident occurred, and we empathize with the families that have been affected. The Birmingham Police Department is unwavering in our commitment to solving all homicide cases. While some of these investigations may require more time, rest assured that we are tirelessly working every day towards bringing perpetrators to justice with efficiency and meticulous work carried out by our homicide detectives and the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. I cannot express how appreciative we are, in particular with the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office, as they have worked over the last, I don't know how many months, with our detectives on each of these cases to ensure that these folks were brought to justice. We are appreciative to the Melton and Malone family, as well as our Birmingham Fire Chief, Chief Corey Moon, and all of our brothers and sisters with the Birmingham Fire and Rescue Service for their patience and their diligence, and as we diligently work toward solving this case and bringing this person to justice. BPD extends gratitude to our esteemed partners that include, as I stated earlier, the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office, the ATF, the FBI, United States Secret Service, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, and Crime Stoppers for their invaluable collaboration throughout this investigation. Additionally, Damien McDaniel is charged with intentional murder in the death of Mia Nixon. She was shot and killed on January the 10th, 2024, outside of her home in the 800 block of Crest Green. McDaniel is also charged with capital murder, which was a murder for hire, in the death of the UPS worker, Anthony Love Jr. He was shot and killed on April the 9th, 2024, on Inglenook Lane in the parking lot of the UPS facility. His co-defendant, Charles Nance, is charged with capital murder, again, murder for hire. McDaniel is currently incarcerated in the Alabama Department of Corrections on a probation revocation out of Bessemer. McDaniel currently has 4 murder cases, 1 intentional murder case pending in Jefferson County, as well as 17 assault first-degree cases, also 3 attempted murder cases, and a certain person's forbidden to possess a pistol and possession of marijuana first degree. McDaniel has no bond. Nance is currently being held in the Jefferson County Jail with no bond for capital murder that occurred on August the 13th, 2024. His co-defendant in that was, again, Damien McDaniel. I hope the formal charges that you see today, along with a large number of continuous arrests that you all have seen over the last several weeks, is sending a very clear message that BPD will not let up. BPD is locked in. We'll take a few questions.
First, we will hear from Mayor Woodfin.
Good morning, everyone, and I want to start by thanking Chief Michael Pickett, as well as Deputy Chief Brown of the Birmingham Police Department Investigation Bureau. I think one of the main responsibilities I have as mayor is to make sure I can provide our police department with the available resources they need to do their job. In this case, nothing's more important for our detectives having every single resource made available to them. What's happened over the last year and a half has been horrific, with one person causing so much pain in our community and taking away loved ones of families. Jordan Melton, Anthony Love Jr., and Mia Nixon. You add on the fact that Jamal Jones' life was changed as well in the most dramatic way possible. I want to extend my heartfelt appreciation for Chief Pickett, for all the detectives, and Deputy Chief Brown for not letting up, for keeping their foot all the way down on the gas pedal and doing everything they can to bring justice to these families. I have spent countless amount of time with Miss Rochelle, Jordan's mother, Mr. Melton, his father, and their extended family. I have Chief Moon standing here. And this ripped through the fire rescue service like no other thing has happened since my time as mayor. It was important to bring justice, not just to this family, but to let our firefighters know that we have their back and front, and we were not going to rest until this person was held accountable and brought to justice. But Anthony Love Jr. did not deserve to die at his place of work either, and Mia Nixon didn't deserve to die simply by being at home. And Jamal Jones didn't deserve to be assaulted the way he was as well, being at his place of work. My message is very simple. To all of these victims, families. We are still in lockstep with you, not just through our prayers and thoughts, but through bringing justice. But my message is also to all those other families out there who have lost a loved one. Our detectives continue to be locked in, literally looking under every rock to bring justice and bring formal charges for those who have taken other loved ones as well in the city. As Chief Pickett said, I want to thank all the partners who made this day happen. And as mayor, we'll continue to do everything we can to make the city safer. Thank you.
Do we have any questions?
Here with ABC 3340, I heard Interim Chief Pickett mention that this was a murder for hire in these cases. If someone hired McDaniel and I believe Nance, what charges, or if any, are being brought against the person who was involved in this murder for hire?
So these are some more complex type of investigations, if you will. So we're continuing to investigate that, but you could look at the possibility of conspiracy to commit murder. They can also be charged with the murder as well, in some form of conspiracy. So we are pursuing that. It's still an ongoing investigation.
Okay. If nobody else has a question, I do
Okay.
have another question.
Yes, ma'am. One more.
I wanted to ask, is Damien McDaniel responsible for any other cases that are open at the Birmingham Police Department at the moment?
I'll say that we are continuing to investigate several murders. There is a possibility. We don't have any certain facts on that at this time, but we are continuing to investigate. So, we're walking down every lead. Of course, things take time. We have to develop every piece of evidence and make sure that we walk down essentially every aspect of it to make sure that, because what we aim for is a conviction. We just don't want to have a person charged. We want to make sure that when they go to court that there's a conviction. This person remains behind bars. So we do very detailed investigations. At times we have to be slow and methodical because they're more complex. And with these murder for hire situations, criminals are, they're trying to be more savvy these days. But the thing is, there's no perfect crime. And our jobs in local, state, and federal law enforcement is to figure out where they slipped up. That's our job. So at times it takes a little bit more time to get that done, but we never stop working. We never stop working on that. And today we're very happy to say that we now have formal charges for these murders, several murders.
Okay. Thank you all.
Between 9 and 10 others were wounded. Lorandis Anderson was 24. Stevie McGee was 39. Markeisha Gettings was 42. Though Angela Weatherspoon was 56, the oldest victim that night. 4 people who came to celebrate someone's birthday and instead became part of a body count.
Hearing from family of one of the people killed in that mass shooting in Birmingham in July since new indictments in this case. Stevie McGee was one of 4 people killed when those shots were fired outside the Trendsetters Lounge.
We brought you that breaking news Tuesday that Damien McDaniel and Hatarius Woods are facing capital murder charges in that shooting. Your reporter Bria Chapman joining us live at 5 after speaking with Stevie McGee's sister. Bria.
Yeah, that's right, Josh. I spoke to Tanisha McGee, who says these last 4 months have been hard, not only just losing her brother, but knowing whoever did this was still out there. And then yesterday to find out one of the suspects responsible for taking his life is also linked to another mass shooting. She says that's something that still has her in disbelief.
I was shocked to know that he had killed that many people and wounded that many people. It's like he's a menace to society, and I'm like, this person really doesn't deserve to live. He doesn't value life at all.
McGee says her brother was full of life. He was more of a homebody, but it was important for him to always show up for the ones he loved. She says that's why he was at that birthday party the night of July 13th.
Never thought my brother would go, leave the world that way. I know we all have a time and a date, and a way that we're going to leave here, but I never thought it would be in that manner. He was a loving, kind soul. He loved everybody's children. He didn't have enemies, and he was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Now knowing Damien McDaniel and Hatarius Woods are in custody, it does give them some closure, especially with the timing.
His birthday was the 25th, and we heard this on yesterday, so I feel like this is the best birthday gift ever, considering the situation, that we got closure.
And as the McGee family prepares for their first holiday without Stevie, sadly, it's not the first time they've dealt with the loss. They lost their cousin Kevin McGee in a different quadruple homicide that happened in February.
So I went from consoling my cousin, his sister and brother, to, them consoling me. It's hard. I had a younger brother as well that passed in a motorcycle accident. So it's rough, just being the only child now, coming from a trio.
Then came September. 2 days before the next mass shooting, a 35-year-old mother named Deontinette Tinai Brown was killed. Gone. September 21st, 2024. Outside the Hush Lounge in 5 Points South, 4 people were killed, 17 were injured. Anitra Holloman was 21. Roderick Lynn Patterson Jr. was 26. Taj Booker and Carlos McCain were both 27. 4 young people, the oldest, not yet 30, dead on a Saturday night in a neighborhood that people go to specifically because it feels alive. And it wasn't over. The very next night, a man named Jamarcus McIntyre was killed. 61-year-old Charlie Herbert Moore had already been killed in August, believed by investigators to have been an unintended target, possibly mistaken for someone else and killed for it. 18 lives. From a 21-year-old shot in her driveway, to a 56-year-old at a birthday party, to an unborn baby named Seven, to a firefighter who ran into burning buildings for a living. 18 different stories, all allegedly ended by the same person. Still here? Good, because this is the part where it gets even harder to process. And if you have not subscribed to True Crime Tragedies yet, do it now. We cover the cases that stay with you long after the video ends, every single week. Pulling a case like this together is not the work of a week or a month. It is the kind of investigation that buries detectives in phone records, surveillance footage, witness interviews, and the slow process of connecting one shooting to another, then another, until a pattern becomes undeniable. Some of the killings had clear connections. Witnesses, surveillance, ballistic evidence linking guns across multiple scenes. Others were harder to pin down, and witnesses were a complicated issue. And in a city where violence is common and retaliation is real, people who saw things were not always people who wanted to talk. That is not cowardice. That is survival. Investigators had to work around that reality. Over time, they built enough to arrest him, enough to charge him across multiple cases, enough to walk into a courtroom and ask for the death penalty. McDaniel was arrested in late 2024, held without bond, and later moved to state facilities, Kilby and then Limestone, because of safety concerns. His family on the outside reportedly faced threats. When McDaniel appeared before the court, he called himself a man of God. He said he was not the monster the media had made him out to be. His defense attorneys, led by John Robbins, argued that finding a fair jury would be very difficult, because the media coverage had been so intense that nearly everyone in the city already had an opinion. District Attorney Danny Carr is seeking the death penalty on multiple capital murder counts.
In making this case a reality for the victims' families and giving them that, hopefully, a little peace, but not necessarily a total peace, because I think the reality is charging them is one thing, convicting them is another. And now we're moving on to the process of hopefully having our day in court and holding these individuals responsible. So keeping them involved as well is, it's a task, but it's one that we're ready to take on.
The first trial, focused on the Trendsetters Lounge shooting, is scheduled for later in 2026. Evidence has been ruled admissible. The legal machinery is in motion. But no verdict has been reached. The families of 18 people are still waiting. Think about the family of Jordan Melton. He died not in a burning building, but shot while at work in a neighborhood he was there to protect.
The family of fallen Birmingham firefighter Jordan Melton celebrated his birthday today at the second annual Jordan E. Melton Safety Summit. Melton was shot while on duty. He died several days later.
Now, the summit comes just days after police announced an arrest in this case. Your reporter James Giles has more from the event and spoke with Melton's mother on camera for the first time since his accused killer was placed in jail.
The family of Birmingham firefighter Jordan Melton may soon have closure 2 years after being killed while on duty. The news comes as they gather to celebrate what would have been his 31st birthday.
And we're going to continue on this journey, making sure that no one ever forgets your name, never forgets your face or your smile.
That infectious smile belonging to the man Dr. Rochelle Malone calls her son. A smile, she says, that always put others first.
One of the last conversations that Jordan and I had, he expressed to me, he said, "Mom, I believe God is calling me to mentor young men that have gotten on the wrong path or are headed down the wrong path."
Melton isn't here to see his vision come to life, but his mother believes he's smiling down, proud of the work she's carrying on.
I could see him cheer me on like, "You go, Mom, you go. Yeah, that's my girl, that's my mom," you know. So, and I'd give anything to hear that right now.
This is the second year for the Jordan E. Melton Safety Summit, an event aimed at fulfilling the mission Melton believed God had given him. Held at the A.G. Gaston Boys and Girls Club, it brought together city leaders, including Birmingham's mayor and first responders like Melton's fire chief, Corey Moon. Moon says he saw the same spark in Melton's eyes that he sees in the kids at this event.
When he first joined the fire service and I found out he wanted to be a fire chief, that's why we had that special connection. So seeing him graduate and seeing these young kids become interested in the fire service, that's what we're here for. That helps remind us of our purpose.
As Malone puts it, pain turned into purpose. Still, Melton's birthday is bittersweet. This week, police announced that Damien McDaniel is facing multiple capital murder charges, including charges related to Melton's death.
The news dredged up a lot of emotions that I thought I'd kind of put to bed, so to speak, for a moment. I'm extremely grateful to the district attorney's office and the team that they have been working with. I understand they've been working tirelessly on this case and will continue to work tirelessly.
2 years after his murder, this is just one step closer to getting justice for a man who wanted to do nothing more than to serve his community with the...
And his colleague Jamal Jones survived, but survival in cases like this is its own complicated burden. Think about Angelia Webster's family. You do not name a baby unless you have already started imagining him. His face, his first steps, the sound of his laugh. Angelia and Chris had already crossed that threshold, and on Valentine's Day, all three of them were taken. Angelia's family didn't just lose a daughter, they lost a grandchild they had already started dreaming about. And Seven. Seven never got to be anything at all. Think about Mia Nixon's family, shot in her own driveway, the place where you exhale, where you dig for your keys, where you're already mentally inside your home. Mia never made it to the door. There is no version of that grief that gets easier with time. And Anthony Love Jr., his death was planned. Someone sat somewhere and decided, deliberately, that Anthony should not be alive anymore. It is not the grief of an accident. It is the grief of knowing your person was chosen. When 4 people are killed at a birthday party, and then 4 more outside a nightclub 2 months later, and 17 others wounded in that same attack, a city cannot contain it anymore. It spills out. People stopped going out at night. Parents called their adult children more. The simple freedom of going somewhere on a Saturday night was replaced by a mental calculation about risk. Birmingham in 2024 recorded 151 homicides, one of its deadliest years on record. Think about how many of those 212,000 residents knew someone on that list. How many went to a funeral? How many sat with a grieving family and had nothing useful to say because there are no useful words? And the question that has not been asked loudly enough, why didn't this story break nationally? 18 alleged victims, 14 months. A suspect convicted of attempted murder and released on probation before the alleged spree began. This story should have had cameras from every major network parked outside that Jefferson County jail. But it mostly stayed local. The reason, the uncomfortable, undeniable reason, is that the victims and the accused are predominantly black, in a community that the rest of America has largely learned to look past. In the level of national attention a crime receives has never been purely about the scale of the tragedy. It has always been, at least in part, about who the victims are and where they live. These families deserved the full weight of national outrage. They deserved coverage that forces systemic change. They deserved to have their names said until the whole country knew who they were. Most of America still doesn't. Mayor Randall Woodfin, who identified one of the alleged victims as his cousin, didn't speak in political language. He said what grieving people say. This is a person who is hell-bent on literally hurting people and taking lives. Birmingham has been fighting a violence problem that predates McDaniel by decades. The poverty concentrated in certain zip codes, the underfunded schools, the mental health resources stretched thin or non-existent. McDaniel grew up inside all of that. So did many of his alleged victims. That does not excuse anything, but it does explain something. And a city that wants to prevent the next Damien McDaniel has to be willing to look at those explanations honestly. The first trial is the immediate milestone. After that comes the Hush Lounge case. Then the Valentine's Day killings. Then the firefighter's murder. Each one will require families to sit in a courtroom and hear the evidence of the worst day of their lives in the flat. Procedural language of the law. McDaniel maintains his innocence. His attorneys will work case by case, charge by charge, jury by jury, to create reasonable doubt. And the state of Alabama will push, charge by charge, for the death penalty. But none of that has happened yet. Every verdict is still pending. Every family is still waiting. 18 names. A young man with a prior attempted murder conviction handed a suspended sentence, put back on the street, and, allegedly, began killing people within 3 months. That is a systemic failure. The courts, the probation system, the gaps that allowed 14 months to pass before an arrest was made. The victims were people. Jordan Melton ran into burning buildings. Angeliah Webster named her son 7. Mia Nixon was walking to her front door. Anthony Love Jr. was on his delivery route. Angela Weatherspoon was at a birthday party at 56, which means she had survived enough of life to still want to go out and celebrate it. They all had somewhere to be. People who needed them. And they are gone. Birmingham is still here, still hurting. The families will show up in those hard wooden chairs, dressed carefully, holding each other's hands, waiting for the law to give them something that resembles justice. The trials are coming. The names are already written. And a city is watching, waiting to find out if the system that failed them once will finally get it right. These stories deserve to be told. And there are more of them. Every week, right here on True Crime Tragedies. If you are not subscribed, you are missing cases just like this one. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and help us make sure these names are never forgotten. We will see you in the next one.